Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cramer. Our guest today is Jennie Lyon. Let's get into growing your business with VAs, also known as virtual assistants, digital marketing. Jennie, you are an expert at what you do. You've built an incredible business. I'm very excited to have you with us and to share some of your wisdom with our audience. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so fantastic to connect with you, and I am excited to dig into this.
Let's start by talking a bit about how you got into this line of work.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Yeah, absolutely. So I have been doing this business now for 22 years. So if we kind of take a walk down memory lane, that's really where this whole digital marketing virtual assistant adventure began. It actually started when I was pregnant with my son. I assumed that I would take a little bit of a maternity break and then go right back to work. My son he's on the autism spectrum. He has what used to be called Asperger's. So I knew pretty quickly, like, wow, that plan is not going to happen, and really throughout his entire childhood, it just really wasn't going to be in the cards for me to go back to a 9 to 5. I mean, our life was so full of doctor's visits and therapy and IEP meetings, teacher meetings, school meetings, that it just wasn't going to work to have me somewhere else 9 to 5. So I really needed to find a career that was going to be flexible enough that I could fit it in when he was really little, when he was napping, or early in the morning or late at night, and then when he got a little bit older while he was at school. And at that time, the idea of a virtual team or a virtual assistant was so new. And digital marketing, I mean, it was kind of a newborn itself. And, really a lot of people were doing, website ads, or you might see someone do a newsletter, email newsletter once in a while. And gosh, I think Facebook didn't even exist for like another 3 years. So, I really started that journey of, what can I offer that would be valuable to people that I could do when I could work in my own time and, really provide value. And I found my first client on Craigslist. That's how long ago this was. And fast forward today, I've built this team where not only, did I grow my business by using virtual assistants and a virtual team, but really have grown it into this really successful business 22 years later with a full team of, digital experts who can help in all different areas of your business, whether you're just starting out and need help with foundational type work, or you really need help promoting and growing your business all the way up, to scaling it. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a journey. It really has been a journey. Absolutely.
I'm sure it has. I've watched the digital landscape change considerably. Anyone who has been in business for even a decade has seen a tremendous amount of change.
Yes.
But I remember getting into this back in the wild west days of the internet, where it was e-zines were the thing and link sharing was the thing, and there was not social media at that
Right.
time. You were just putting up a website and you were just trying to sell whatever you could sell, and you were
Exactly.
using any tactic that was like the hot thing at the moment. And things have really become a lot more sophisticated and a lot more complicated in some
Yes.
respects. And it is a lot for the average business owner to navigate, to try to figure out, to try to keep up with the changes just with social media alone.
Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about how having a virtual team, a team of virtual assistants, people to support you with your digital marketing efforts, can help at different
Yeah,
stages in a business
absolutely.
owner's journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I started my business, I fell into that common trap that I think so many small business owners or entrepreneurs do, which is I can do everything. I can do it myself. And for myself, what that ended up looking like was that I was working 16-hour days at a certain point, and I was living and breathing work. And I really was just consumed with it. I knew, like, I love my clients, I love what I'm doing, but it really was like taking over my life. And I remember that exact like aha moment that I had was one day my husband came into my office in the morning and he was like, it's Friday. It'd be fun to take Eben, my son, to dinner and a movie. Would that be something you could fit in? And I was like, yes, absolutely. I would love to do that. Yes, absolutely. And he was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy the tickets. So can you really commit to it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And throughout the day, he kept kind of poking in, like, are you going to be wrapping up soon? You really going to be able to come with us this time? And, I really thought, yes, I really can. I'm going to. But lo and behold, the time came. He came in, all right, it's time to go. And I was like, I'm almost done, but I'm not quite done. And I really have to get this done today. And he was like, well, we've got to go. We have, tickets and we're going to go. And I remember watching them leave. And I even watched them out the window, get in the car and drive away. And I became so emotional of my business, yes, is very, very important to me, but I'm missing out on so many things. I know it was just dinner and a movie, but it was other things as well. And, I really was upset about it. And I remember that night, like going to bed, I got up early the next day, which was Saturday, really early. And I just sat down and I was like, I can't, I've got to change. What can I do? And it was like this light bulb that should have been turned on a long time ago. But I was like, I help people virtually in their businesses. Why don't I hire someone to help me in my business? Why am I doing everything for all my clients and for my own business? And that day, I started searching for a virtual assistant or a virtual team member. And even though budget was tight, I knew the change was so important and really non-negotiable at this point. So I brought in my first VA, and it was incredible. Like within the first month, I was like, I can't go to the movie. I can do this. I can do that. And I wasn't juggling everything by myself anymore. And I was able to focus on the things that only I could do in the business, get new clients and build new services. And I wasn't stuck in that minutia of the everyday, oh, I've got to schedule my social media, I've got to get a blog out, I've got to record this, I've got to do that. And it was really incredible. And even with just that one team member, my business doubled that year. And that's when really at the end of the year, I started to go, there's something to this. Maybe I could hire more people and maybe I could really grow this even more. And so that's what I did. I just started to hire experts in all different areas that I was offering. And it was incredible because, I mean, I know a lot about digital marketing, but it was so nice to have people who were focused on one single area of digital marketing. So if there was a little change, like you said, with social media, I didn't feel like I had to constantly be on top of the changes of Facebook ads and Google ads and what's happening with TikTok. And I had people who were kind of already had their finger on the pulse of that. So it was pretty incredible. And it's just allowed me to grow the business more and more every year, offer more services, and really stay on top of all of those changes that we see every day in this digital environment.
What do you think is holding most people back from getting the help?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think, again, that common trap, I think, is that people, I think it's just a natural thing where they fall into thinking it's my business. Either I should do it, like it's my responsibility to do it, or I can do it. And I think that they just think they can. And so they kind of limp along and add it to their list of a million other things they need to do. Oh, I know I need to do my marketing. I'll get to it. It falls down the list every single week. And I think that's what happens. And then I think certain things happen where either they become completely overwhelmed and frustrated and ultimately burnt out, that they may at that point reach out. But it's actually kind of shifting. I have been seeing over the past year or so where I have a lot more clients that are new, just starting out. They might have a product or a service, but they aren't even quite certain what that is yet. Like I have this idea or I really want to create this. So it's been a lot of fun to help people at the very beginning. So I think it kind of depends on, where they're at. Some people pretty quick to just say, you know what, I think that if I get help immediately, I can grow this so much faster. And then others they kind of get stuck in that day to day. And at a certain point, it's kind of like, I need a change or I can't continue to go this way. It's just not sustainable.
For someone who is really good at what they do, but maybe not so great at marketing what they do, I'd like to talk a bit about that because
Yeah,
we know that marketing is absolutely critical.
right,
And we know that not everybody has the time or
right.
the skill set, right,
Yes, yes.
to learn all the stuff.
Hmm.
When you're working with clients, how much are you able to step in and help them to build out their marketing plan or build out their marketing strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the amazing part is that I have clients that we start all the way at the beginning and I actually help them map out everything. And then I have other clients who have maybe been doing some types of marketing. They've had successes in some areas and other areas not so much. So can really look and audit what they have been doing and say, okay, this part of your marketing strategy is working really well. How can we kind of expand on that? Whereas these parts, not so much. We should try to scrap that, try something else. So I think, having some sort of a marketing plan is really, crucial. I always say, your marketing plan is kind of like that roadmap. You wouldn't just jump in your car and go on a road trip without knowing where you're going, like you have a destination in mind. And, without having that roadmap, you can kind of end up with your marketing efforts being really unfocused and aimless and you're kind of throwing spaghetti everywhere and is anything working? I don't know. So I really like to have some sort of a roadmap in place, and I'll usually start with clients really making sure that they understand who their audience is, because I feel like that for almost every single business can really be tightened up. I see that over and over again where someone really thinks they know who their ideal client is, but when you kind of start to dig into it, it's way too broad. I've had clients before where they are just certain that their book is for everyone, but then you really dig into it and you're like, no, actually not. It's for a very small subset of people, and we're going to have a lot more success marketing to those people who feel like that book is for me. Oh my gosh, where has that been my whole life? Then trying to really market and, jump out to every single person. So I think really dialing in on that part is important because that's going to help to drive your messaging to ensure that it resonates with the right audience. And if your marketing is trying to appeal to everyone, then essentially you end up reaching no one because no one's really not really quite certain. So I really feel like having that marketing plan, whether you're just starting out and you're kind of trying out a few different things, all the way up to where it's super, super strategic, I think that's a really important first step.
I know that you're an advocate for growing your email list.
Yes,
Love to
yes,
talk a bit about
yes.
that. I've had
Hmm.
this conversation or some variation of this conversation in previous episodes. I don't think we can drive home the point too much because this is an
Right.
area where a lot of people are missing out. What is your philosophy? What's your theory
Yes,
on this?
absolutely. Yes. No, I am all about email marketing. It's one of the first questions I ask whenever I talk to like a prospect on the phone. I always want to know because it is very interesting how a lot of people just don't think about how important that is, or they think I'll do that later. Like that's not important right now. I'm too new. But really, I mean, you can have an email list that's very small, but if it's very, a very nurtured, dedicated list, that can be gold, even if it's, just a few hundred people. So I think that really is important. And, email marketing, it's still the highest return on investment as far as marketing goes. If you're comparing it to other digital marketing strategies, and when you are, cultivating and nurturing that list of, really enthusiastic followers, you really continually can engage them and grow that over and over again. So definitely always recommend having an email list, and then of course having some sort of really great lead magnet to get people onto that email list, something that's so valuable that they can't believe you're giving it to them for free, something that does give them something they can put into action today and start to see results with. It just has to be that quick small win, something that makes them think, oh my gosh, that was incredible. And then you can start to nurture them from there, send them more content that's valuable, that extends the value of that free offer, and, go from there and really segment your list is really important to ensure that you're sending people the appropriate emails. But yes, definitely top of my list. Email marketing is super important, and you want to start building that email list from day one.
There's probably a lot more tangents that we could go off there, like
Oh my
segmenting and
gosh.
all of that stuff. I
Yes.
want to shift gears just a little bit because I
Yeah,
want to speak to you as the successful business owner.
sure.
You shared with us your aha, which sort of got things
Yeah.
moving in a really positive trajectory for you in your
Hmm.
business. Since then, I'm sure there have been plenty of other mindset shifts that you've had, maybe some mindset challenges that were particularly rocky, but
Yeah.
once you got a handle on it, once you had that shift, it really was transformational for you. Is there one mindset challenge that you personally went through that you would be willing to share with our audience?
Sure. Oh my gosh. I feel like mindset is kind of it's everywhere. I feel like everything that I work on, it really comes down to your mindset on it for sure. And I think one that pops into mind for me is, I talk to a lot of people and do a lot of like discovery calls with people. And for the longest time, proposals seemed to be like this hole that I would get like, oh, I've got to do all these proposals. But I really felt so connected to it because I felt like, I talked to the person, I should really do the proposal. And I would really let that weigh on me to the point where I would like get sucked into doing proposals for an entire day by myself and just feel like I would get completely off track. Oh my gosh, now I'm behind on this, this, and this. What am I doing? But I really, for the longest time, really had this mindset that it was something only I could do. Like I was responsible for that. And, I really started to think this is not the way to go about this, really. I mean, I can definitely do the consults with the prospective clients, which I love to do because I love to meet people and hear where they're at and, provide value even on that call and, give them ideas on what they can do. But I thought, gosh, I could really bring in one of my marketing strategists and go over this is the person, this is their business, these are the challenges that they're having, this is where they're hoping to go. And here's my call recording. Could you help me build the proposal out? And that way you can do like the framework, but then send it to me. I can polish it, add the personalized touch and get it off my list. That was incredible. I went from spending an entire day every single week doing proposals to now getting them all completely done in well less than an hour. I get it back, I go through it. Yep, you hit all the points we talked about. Perfect. You polish it off and send it off, and it just feels like it affected so many other things because I felt like I would really get down on myself about, oh my gosh, you really need to get this proposal to someone today, but you have 10 other things that are just as important. How do I balance that? How do I get it all done? And now it's just been this huge weight of I'm not letting anyone down. And everyone's happy. Nobody cares if someone's helping me do the proposals. They just care that they get the proposal and that we can help them get what they need.
I love it because
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much wisdom in that. And anybody listening can probably see if they're honest with themselves and being objective, that there is something going on somewhere in their life, somewhere in their business where if they're honest, they can feel it's pulling them down, it's weighing them down, it's not really helping them to hold on. And
right,
I have a very, very strong personal philosophy that is based on my understanding of metaphysics. Whenever something is pulling you down like that, it's pulling you into a negative mindset, a negative
yes,
vibration. There is always a better way. It's always about shifting our mindset. It's always about
right,
seeing it differently. Because once we let go of our attachment to that particular way of seeing it, to that problem, we're able to rise up into a more solution oriented mindset, a more solution oriented vibration. And lo and behold, a shift will occur that is far better than what we were holding onto, like this boulder that's been holding
right,
us back, dragging us down. So
yes,
the little bit of inspiration here for those listening to maybe reach out to someone like yourself, get some
right.
support with some of those things. Maybe it's something that they just need to finally get really honest with themselves about. What is that limiting belief that you need
Right.
to let go of?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that when I think of clients that I've worked with, they usually do fall into different buckets, like they have these things that are weighing them down that someone else could just take off their plate. That would just be a huge relief. They have tasks that they just don't have time to do, that they know needs to be done, but when? How? How am I going to get that all done? But then also into tasks that they don't know how to do, and that can be a huge time suck in a rabbit hole. I talked to one of my clients the other day where she finally asked me a question about her website. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can fix that. Give me 2 seconds. I fixed it. And she was like, I have spent 8 hours on this. I was like, no. She was like, yes, I'm not kidding you. Over 3 days, 8 hours, I've been trying to switch that image out myself. And I kept Googling, I kept watching YouTube videos thinking this couldn't possibly be this hard. But she was just spinning her wheels and becoming more overwhelmed and frustrated. And why can't I do this when it literally took me 2 seconds? I logged in, I switched it out, I said, refresh. What do you think? Oh, that looks amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you. So I think you just have to look at it. Are there tasks that you don't have time to do? Are there tasks that you don't know how to do? Are there tasks that you don't want to do? Those would all be things to really think about, or, if you're growing your business, then there's all types of digital marketing that you could spend a lifetime learning when you could just ask and say, hey, you know what? I think that I want to talk about ads. What could they do for my business? Would that work for my business? Ask someone who already knows. You save yourself a ton of time and energy and stress.
This has been a fantastic conversation. I
Yay.
really do feel like we could probably share a lot more on this subject.
Absolutely.
For the sake of time, we can.
Yes.
So I want to make sure our listeners know how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. Well, a few different ways. So you can find me on social media at Jennie Lyon Marketing, of course, at my website at jennylyon.com. but I also put together a marketing plan for your readers. They can grab that at jennylyon.com/business success. And it walks them through a lot of the things that we talked about today, and it will at least get them moving to that next level. And of course, if you do want to chat, you can always schedule a free discovery call with me at jennylyon.com/chat with Jennie.
Awesome. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much, Jennie, for being with
My
us today.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Alicia. It has been a pleasure.
Got to thank all of our listeners too. You know, we're doing this for you. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And until next time, we will see you in the next episode.